Hello. While we are waiting for, there we go. And today we're going to talk about what a ratio is. Ratios are super easy in my opinion. So first, a ratio is a pair of numbers that compare two different quantities. So if I were comparing books to movies, or if I were comparing students who like math to students who like reading, or cats to dogs, those are ratios. They compare two different quantities. A ratio is a pair of numbers that compares two quantities. So when I'm looking at this diagram up here, I see that there are 1, 2, 3 circles. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, and there's 1 triangle. So if I'm comparing squares to circles, let me change the color. There are 4 squares to 3 circles. When I am saying I'm comparing squares to circles, I have to write down how many squares there are first and then how many circles. Or if I say there are 3 circles to how many total shapes. There's 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 1 is 8. So it would be 3 to 8. I'm comparing the circles to the total shapes. There are 3 ways to write a ratio. You can write the word 2. You can do it with the symbol right here. You could do 3 to 8, or you can do 3 over 8 and turn it into like a fraction. When you're working with ratios, you do work with them like you're working with fractions a lot of times. That's just kind of a heads up for you. So let's look at this right here. We are going to use the picture above, which has 3 circles. Let me write this down. 3 circles, 4 squares, and 1 triangle. So it says the number of triangles to total number of shapes, and it tells you to write it in 3 ways. So you would write 1 to 8, or you would write 1 to 8, or you would write it as a fraction, 1 to 8. Now let's look at the number of squares to the number of triangles. How many squares are there? There's 4. How many triangles are there? There's 3. So I have to put them in order. Squares, there's 4 squares, and there's 3 triangles. Another way I can write it is 4 with a colon 3, and as a fraction, 4 over 3. The next one, I am comparing the number of triangles. So how many triangles? There's 1, and how many squares? There's 4. So it'd be 1 to 4. Another way I would write it is 1 to 4 and 1 over 4. Make sure whenever you write a ratio, you put them in order. So if they're saying the triangles first, you put the triangles. And the squares second, you put the squares. And you only put the numbers that they're asking for. Like you noticed right here, I started writing a 3, and then I was like, wait, there's only 1 triangle. There's not 3 triangles. There's 3 circles, but there's 1 triangle. So this one's the number of triangles, which is 1, to the number of circles. How many circles are there? There's 3. So 1 to 3. Or I could write it 1 to 3. Or I could write it as a fraction, 1 over 3. Now the number of circles. How many circles? 3. And the total number of shapes? There's 8. Now I can write it several ways. So 3 to 8 and 3 over 8. Now let's look at number 6. The total number of shapes to the number of squares. How many total shapes are there? There's 8. How many squares? There's 4. So 8 to 4. Or I could do 8 to 4. Or I could write it as a fraction, 8 to 4. Perfect. Not too hard, is it? It's actually pretty easy. It's not a lot of math. It's just writing down numbers and remembering to put the different symbols that mean 2 and making sure that they are in order. Let's look at this one. There are 14 boys and 16 girls in Mr. Allen's class. What is the ratio of girls to the number of students in the class? Write the ratio 3 ways. Well, I'm looking at the ratio of girls. So how many girls? There's 16. And then to the total number of students. So I have to do 16 plus 14, and I have 30. And so I'd have 16 to 30. I could also write it 16 to 30 and 16 over 30. Those are the 3 ways to write this ratio. That wasn't too hard, was it? Let's do the next one. At a cat and dog hospital, 9 of the patients were cats, 17 were dogs. Use this fact to write 2 ratios. Explain what each ratio means. So I might say, how about cats to dogs? So I would do 9 to 17. And let me say dogs to total, the total number of animals. So there's 17 dogs, and we got 17 plus 9, 16, so I have 26. So it'd be 17 to 26, or 17 to 26, or 17 over 26. Those are the ways to write it. We're done. Good luck on your assignment today. A couple of things to remember. Number 1, write them in order. So if it tells you cats first, you put cats first. If it tells you dogs first, you put dogs first. Another thing I want you to remember is math is not the answer. It's the work. So make sure you're explaining what you do. Have a great day. Bye.